Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I have a cadre of political spirit guides that I get to chat with and answer your questions. And today is part 2 of your questions being answered. So thanks for sending them in. You can always find them on my main channel. Click the icon. You'll see my main YouTube channel, which has playlist. But besides that, it also has community page, which you will see where I call for questions. Now, if you subscribe and if you click the bell notification, you'll know when I'm calling for questions and you can join in as well. All right, let's get started with part 2. There are so many good questions that I'm going to talk fast. I'm really going to try to speed the video up in playback so that I'm talking faster and I can cover more ground. I'm really not kidding. Okay, let's get started. The first question here is Shannon Rosado, who says she's wondering if the political, where did political come in? Where did political come in? Anyway, she's wondering if, because it's a political stunt, the guides just said. They answered the question before I read the question. Slow down. Okay, she's wondering if the Republicans will be successful in impeaching President Biden. She says, I don't see it, but I just thought I would ask the professionals. Thank you, Shannon, for thinking that this is professional. Pretty much it seems like a train wreck every time I get on here. But as the guys just said, it's a political stunt. They are not going to be successful in doing this. There's no will of the House. So certainly they don't have the majority. They don't have the votes, people. They just don't have the votes. But even if they did, the guides were just saying they don't want to. There's the old adage of the dog catching the car, meaning the fun is in the chase. It's not in getting what you're chasing. These people need to feed their base. They've created this monster, this goblin looking thing, and they need to feed it. So they need to look like they're earning their money. They've created this narrative that Biden is a criminal, blah, 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 blah. Many actually ideas that they've created. So now they've got these people that want red meat. They want to see that Biden goes to jail. They've been telling them he's going to go to jail. Well, why aren't you making him go to jail? So this is them feeding their base. It also is them trying to have a distraction. Look over there. Look over there. We're going after Biden, so that you don't look at all the, legal troubles that 45 is in. So it's just that simple. They're doing what they have to do. When I look at the American people, I think that they think this is a bunch of malarkey, to put it in a Biden term. So I don't think this is going to hurt Biden. As a matter of fact, most of the pundits, the guides are telling me, think it's going to help Biden. Because Biden, in some way, he's going to have his day in court. He's going to be able to say, you don't have any data. You don't have any evidence. Where's your evidence? So it's actually going to backfire on the Republicans. So there you have it from the quote unquote professionals. Let's move on. Wicolia 6 says, well, McCarthy's going ahead with Biden's impeachment inquiry for political reasons. She's already caught on. I don't know who this is. They've already caught on. Push Congress to pass laws to levy penalties for bringing these frivolous investigations. Vicky. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Vicky. I'm asking the guides right now, push Congress to pass laws to levy penalties. No, the answer is no, because impeachment is supposed to be unhindered. The guides are saying it needs to be unhindered. It's just like I can take you to court. I may not have all the evidence, but I can take you to court. I don't know. I don't see Congress quashing. They can't even stop filibuster. How are they going to do this? How are they going to pass laws against impeachment? I think there might be some, they're showing me the rules, and they're saying they might change the rules meaning you have to maybe have this amount of evidence before you can impeach. You may have to have some evidence, right? There might be a committee installed before impeachment, but there's not going to be any heavy-handed changes, but there might be some small procedural, is what they want to say, changes that kind of keep presidents from being run through the mud. But look, if you run a president through the mud and there's no mud, then the other side ends up looking bad. So I don't think this is as big a problem as maybe we're feeling the energy of it being. But thank you for your question. Yvonne says, are the new flu and COVID vaccines safe? I get yes. I also get that there are people that they're not safe for, right? It's a person by person decision, but overall, for the multitudes is the word they want to use of humans, they are very, very safe and recommended. But there are the odd person that it's not something that they should do. But overall, yes. Okay. And they also want to add efficacious, because there's some talking head energy that the new vaccine isn't going to match the strain that's out there. It's the same thing with the flu, but the guides want to say that the vaccine that's coming out is such a broad spectrum that no, it's not going to get every single strain, but it's going to be protective around a lot of the strains. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to, it doesn't mean you're not going to get that virus. It means that you're protected from getting it to a degree that you don't want to get it. So let's just put it this way. My guides are suggesting that I get it. Okay. Let me move on. Stephanie says, good question, Stephanie. What's going to happen with the recently elected progressive judge in Wisconsin? Republicans have super majorities in the Wisconsin legislature, and the speaker is threatening to impeach her if she does not recuse herself from a case of gerrymandered maps. I mean, you guys, what Stephanie has so succinctly worded here is everything that's wrong with our country right now. We have more power. We don't like you. You're trying to reduce our power. Therefore, we're going to remove you. They've also talked about removing Fani Willis, right? I mean, so this is the energy that we are in right now, unfortunately. I don't think they're going to remove her, but I will say that there is a chilling effect on her. How do I describe this? It's the same energy that I've seen several times. I've seen this repeated several times. Actually, when she was elected, I told you guys, if she doesn't get elected, it's going to be okay in the end. So it's the same energy around her all the time. This energy of barely making it or overcoming great odds. So she's always got this energy of overcoming great odds. So when you go into the energy, it feels like these odds are too big. She's not going to make it. But then she has this ability to surmount them. So I don't see her stepping aside and recusing herself. I think that she's going to force their hand. And then I think this is going to go to a higher court. And it's this energy of the buck stops here. We're not going to be bullied by you. We're not going to hide in the corner because you say that you're coming for us. We're not going to do it anymore. Play your best hand. I'm going to play my best hand, and hopefully justice and democracy wins. That's the energy here, right? That is the energy right there. The energy is like, it's a crapshoot. We don't know what's going to happen. But I would say, based on this woman's energy of beating the odds, of surmounting these incredible odds, I would put my money on her. And I would put my money on, it's all about timing. If this can just wait another month or 2 months or 3 months, the timing is better for her. It's better for democracy. It's almost like we're going through that shift of the energy. And so I think she's going to be fine. But in the very like 5% chance that she gets ousted, it's going to be made okay in a higher court. So it's not the end of the story. Let me move on. Karen Moore says that the guides shared that Melania's job was handling 45. And Karen says, I got that she's working for the R country. Will your guides feel it's safe enough for you to share if Trump is a Russian asset? I don't know if your name is Karen or K. Aaron, so I'm not sure there. But anyway, yeah, he is allegedly a Russian, our country asset, and they want to say that they're showing me a real estate windfall, real estate investing. I'm seeing a big tower building, but I'm also seeing those beauty pageants he used to judge. That was the time. I feel like this is in the 80s. That was the time that this alleged partnership ownership began. It started out as a partnership. It's not a partnership. He is so delusional, that he thinks he has this power. It's what they just showed me is Prigozhin. I know I just went off on a tangent, but Prigozhin, you remember Putin's handyman, his chef that he made into a killer and an army leader. Prigozhin thought, I'm untouchable. Putin loves me. I screwed up, but we're bros. We have a bromance. That man is in pieces somewhere, right? There are no bromances with Putin. You would be foolish to think like Prigozhin did that you're untouchable. 45. There's your message if you're watching this video, eating your Big Mac and your French fries. All right, let's move on. Next question is from Carolyn Lewis. Why don't the prosecutors and judges keep 45 from scaring jurors and threatening his post? So this is something that Kirshner brought up, Justice Matters. He brought up, he said, Trump is poisoning the jury pools. He's poisoning them because he's putting thoughts in their head. Media outlets are sharing these things that he's saying, and it's hard. It's going to be hard to get a jury pool that hasn't been poisoned. So I think that's what you're talking about here. You're asking, can't they protect the juries more? They should shut down his ability to do this. What is the reason they are letting this happen? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. I'm not sure if you're talking about the jurors, literally sitting jurors, they're sitting for the court case, or the potential jurors. If you're talking about the jurors, well, we're not learning our lesson. America's not learning our lesson. We're not really stepping into the breach, so to speak, to stand against all of this bullying. So there will be some things we will have to see, some violence or see some intimidation. I mean, they're showing me, I don't know if you guys remember, they're just showing me this, so I have no reference, but there was a judge not too long ago whose husband and son were, I think, killed. They opened the door and somebody shot them thinking they were killing her, a judge. Okay. This is not new. This is not new. So, and actually I have a friend who's a state judge who wrote a book on judges that have been murdered in Texas. So, this is not new. However, it is certainly picking up cadence. It's picking up steam. What the guides are saying is that, and this is what they've been saying for a long time, that we don't know, the average citizen doesn't know how many times ATF, the FBI, arrest, infiltrate these groups before they do something. So Biden has done a fantastic job, they're telling me, of really infiltrating and nabbing these people before they do something. Now, what's left over are the lone wolves, like the guy that just recently had the gun in University of North Carolina. We could go on and on about all these lone wolves that have done these things. I do feel like Georgia is trying to protect those jurors. And I feel like for the most part, they will be protected. Now, if you're asking about poisoning the jury pool, so with all this publicity, can we get a clean jury? Can we get a jury who says they're neutral in such a divided atmosphere? That is a problem. That's what Glenn Kirshner is trying to say. He's trying to say we need to stop this because it's going to be really hard to find a jury. And that's probably what Trump is doing, right? He's trying to make it hard to find a jury. Your question, I think, would come down to this. Are they going to muzzle Trump? And I think it's getting there. I think we're getting there. Maybe within 3 months. Maybe it should be within 3 days. Maybe it should be within 3 weeks. But it feels like for sure within 3 months. But it does feel like there's some energy around muzzling him in the next month. Remember, right, we're September. They showed me December. Remember, I keep telling you guys September, December, September, December. This man is going to do something. I've read about this before. I've told you guys this before. He's so desperate. He's going to go out and he's going to do something completely beyond the pale. I know that's hard to imagine that there's something worse than he's already done. But I believe that he's going to go out and say something like when he gave out Barack Obama's address. That really should have been the end of it right there. That should have been the end of it. Again, America, we're not learning our lesson. We're not taking this stuff seriously. But I feel like the end of it might be that he says something that's literally top secret, that he says something out loud in a public sphere that is intelligence, that is top secret. And that for some reason is like, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back. We are clearly in this kind of situation, right? Where you wonder why all of the lead bricks didn't break the camel's back, and now a straw breaks the camel's back. This is where we are. It is active energy. It is going to be addressed. Okay, it is going to be addressed. Maybe not soon enough, but it is going to be addressed. When I saw Elon sitting by the Putin at a game, which was then followed by Elon cutting Ukraine off from using Starlink, I felt concerned about his ties with NASA and other entities. The question is, are American interests compromised or vulnerable because of his ties to foreign powers? If so, to what degree and how will we be affected? Absolutely. I realized why you guys were so mad. Like, I kept getting all these questions about Elon Musk cutting off Starlink, which is internet, to Ukraine in the middle of the war. Well, that happened last year. Well, now I realize it's because the book that's been written about Elon Musk is now published. He did it again, apparently yesterday, I think, cut off Starlink again. Now, this is again, right? We just talked about this. We just talked about how the energy is pushing America to say, what do you stand for? Do you stand for this? Are you going to stand for this? Are you going to stand up to this bully? Or are you just going to be a doormat? And this is the same energy with Musk. He's all up in our business, right? He's all up involved in SpaceX and NASA. He's involved with Starlink. There's other things that he's doing with our military. And no, he's not a safe person to be in business with. We will have to address this. All of these things that are happening to America right now go against our customs and our traditions. Everything you guys have talked about. Should we make impeachment harder? Well, the custom is, the tradition is, should we really strip this private individual from working with the government because his involvement with a country that we don't like? We're not at war with Russia. We can't say he's doing anything wrong. We're not at war with Russia. We're in a proxy war with Russia, which means we're in a proxy war with Russia. We're not admitting anything. He is a friend to our friend's foe. Complicated. It's all complicated. And we've never been here before. I keep telling you guys, this is a book, never been written. None of these things really have historical precedent. certainly not legal precedent. So we're all running around trying to figure out, how do we want to deal with this? At the same time, the House of Representatives is being held hostage by a bunch of crazy people that are not allowing us to pass laws. We can't even give promotions to our military. We're really hijacked right now. So we are vulnerable to him. We will deal with it. We will pass laws. Again, people are going to complain that this is reducing our freedoms. You're going to hear this next year all the time, because we have to reduce the freedoms. We can't just say that private public business transactions don't have to be regulated to the nth degree. Perhaps, especially when the military is concerned, they need to be not allowed. Maybe we need to go back. This is what makes the Republicans crazy, because they want their dollars. They want to privatize everything, right? So I think we are going to address it. He is a problem. We just don't have the tools right now to address it. We just don't. We can't pass a law to save our lives because of the House of Representatives. We're trying to deal with people that are attacking our democracy. So I think that before the United States gets a hold of Musk, I think his company will get a hold of him. I think pretty soon you're going to see Tesla drop. You're going to see his stock suffer a fatal blow because of his personality issues. And I would say, and I was going to say this months or a year ago even, he's been on my radar for a year. Everybody's just mad now because the book is out. If you're driving a Tesla and you want to get the money back out of that Tesla that you put into that Tesla, you might want to think about selling it. You just might want to think about it. Because I think that his image is really getting ready to take a sledgehammer to it. And I don't know how that's going to affect your investment. Okay, let's move on. Donna Davis, will Paxton take Greg Abbott down? This is Texas. Right now, we have Attorney General Paxton. And this is important for you to listen to, because Attorney General Paxton, state of Texas, has 5 FBI federal indictments against him, and had them against him before Trump came in office. And Trump came in office, and all of a sudden, things just couldn't get done, right? That things just weren't moving through the courts. He was able to evade. He was able to find a friendly court to, postpone or whatever. So the man's never even been to court over these indictments. Now, all of a sudden, and we don't know why, right? Why would this happen all of a sudden? All of a sudden, the Texas House impeached him. They brought him up for impeachment and they impeached him. Y'all, Texas is Republican. His own people impeached him. Now they're trying him in the Senate. They also removed him. They made him step down from his position. I think he was still getting paid, but he wasn't acting anymore. He couldn't do anything anymore. And now he's in the Senate, and the Republicans have knives out. They have knives out for this guy. Why it's important for you, wherever you live, is, what did we say? This is the end of the Republican Party. And we told you guys it was going to implode from the inside out, from the inside out. It's not going to be the Democrats with the knives. It's not going to be Gen Z with the knives. It's going to be their own freaking hubris, their own criminality is what's going to bring them down. Because what's happening is, as Donna Davis suggests, Greg Abbott is the governor, and he's like, this is bringing scrutiny to me. It's the same energy with Clarence Thomas and Harlan Crow. We've talked about this. Harlan Crow was like, dude, you need to go away for a while, because all this spotlight on you is starting to creep over to be spotlight on me, and I don't need the spotlight, and I don't need you. Back off. Thomas didn't back off. Thomas was like, Thomas is the same. It's the same energy. It's unbelievable. Thomas believes he's untouchable. The same way Prigozhin thought he was untouchable. Trump thinks they're untouchable. Guess what? Paxton thought he was untouchable. They're not untouchable. This is the new energy. And it's more than just justice. I mean, justice really should be enough, but unfortunately, it hasn't been, because look where we are, right? It's almost like justice has been asleep at the wheel and went off the cliff. And I think she's hanging on a twig somewhere. In steps spirit. When the energy of the earth gets so out of balance, like it is, between climate change and humans doubling down on their worst possible, behaviors and energies, our earth can't handle the vibration is off. When our vibration is off, we start messing up other existences. It's like, you're going to have your party in your house, fine. But when I can hear all the words and hear y'all singing, and my house is a block away, then you got a problem. I'm going to call the popo. I'm going to have them tell you to turn the music down. The spiritual popo has been called on us. Why else would all this be happening? Why would all these people be saying their crimes out loud on TV? You hear Rudy Giuliani, you hear Trump. Every day Trump says something that literally, Jack Smith is like, well, that fills that little hole that I was missing in my in my case, video screenshot that, we'll play that, it's like they have truth serum. So yes, will Paxton take Greg Abbott down? Yes. Will also, they just showed me those barriers in the Rio Grande River with the saw blades on them. I mean, there's so many things that are going to take Greg Abbott down, not just Paxton. It's almost like the criminality, the untouchable energy of, I can do whatever I want, I'm untouchable. And therefore, they just had a crime and spree. And now all these people, it got too heavy. The criming got to be too much. And now it has to be addressed. It's like justice said, if you're just going to crime a little bit, I'll turn a blind eye. But no, you have run amok. Now we have to do something about it. And that's why you're going to see something done about it with all of these people, not just Paxton, not just Abbott, not just Putin, not just Trump, all of these people. It's also astrological. Somebody could put it in the comments, but there's also an astrological thing, orientation of the planets that's happening that's going to also add energy to this. So if you've been doing some things wrong, you might want to stop, because justice is here. So that's why this is important for all of us. It's important that this judge in Wisconsin win. It's important that Fani Willis wins. It's important that Paxton and Greg Abbott go down. It's all of the same energy. You simply cannot separate it and say DeSantis is Florida's problem. You can't say that. The energy, they're all connected. They're all connected. And I really feel like when one goes, they all start going, because they're all connected. So let's move on. I don't know what your name is. Slim. I'm going to call you Slim. Will the federal government pass legislation that puts women's reproductive rights back in the hands of women and her doctor? So yes, I've read on this before, but it's been a while. We will have that back. I feel like in 24. Now, what they're showing me is, oh, right. Oh, okay. Okay, right. So there are some states that will be making that law. So there will be some more states that make that law. But we do know that there are states that have come out and said no, and not only no, but in a very egregious way, a very inhumanely limiting way. So yes, I do see that being a federal law. We will get it back. It will be, it'll be as good or better than Roe v. Wade. Okay. I think 24. The legislation might get passed in 24, or it might get enacted. It might get produced or whatever in 24 and passed in 25. But it's coming. Again, you have to understand that in 24, we're not going to have these yahoos in the House. So when I say these things, I know you guys think this can never happen. That's because we're going to have group of politicians, House members that are going to be much more reasonable and much more representative of the American people. Okay, let's see. Art Quilt Girl says, wants to take a look at Louisiana, particularly the upcoming governor race. The upcoming governor race. Right now I see dim. Right now I see blue. I see blue governor. I see blue governor. I mean, it's pretty clear. So hopefully that energy will continue. Again, you guys, there's a lot of things that happen in the voting, in the process of that can cause, I don't know how to describe it, but can cause the rightful outcome of the energy to be subverted. Let's put it that way. Right now I see blue. Claudette Tooley says, will Ivana's casket be searched for government documents? I hope there are also plans to search 45's other properties and his children's. Yes, I'm getting the word discovery, which is what you do in court when you have a court case with somebody and you get to ask questions or subpoenas or whatnot. And the thing that I'm getting is that I have always said that there's something in the casket. Okay, I've always felt that there's something in the casket from day one. I've always said that Ivana's death was not an accident. I've always said that. Now, will it be searched for documents? Will it be searched? Will it be moved? This is a ways out there. I don't see this anytime soon, but I am seeing a cordoned off area. And it doesn't look like they're looking at the casket. It looks like it's a cordoned off area that happens to include the area with the casket. Like the casket's over here, but the cordoned off area kind of goes to the casket's on one side. So that means that they're going to search that. Your other question is, are they going to search 45's other properties? I think everybody wants, the New Jersey property to be searched, his children's properties to be searched. The interesting thing is when I saw the area around the casket being cordoned off, it was in relation to Don Jr. It wasn't in relation to Trump. Trump might be gone. He might be crossed over. I'm also seeing the other one. I'm seeing both boys. I'm not seeing Ivana, but I'm seeing both boys having to do with this search of this area at the golf course. And then I'm also seeing Don Jr. being potentially searched allegedly for some sort of taxes, forensic tax search, something to do with paperwork, something to do with ownership paperwork. Allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, double books. That's what I see. So yeah, there will be more litigation. There will be more cases in the future, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. Okay, I'm finally getting into a Canadian question. I've been trying to get to you guys for the last 3 videos. Okay, Cat Girl 5X says, Canadian political question. Okay. Do the guides think the Canadian federal government will go conservative the next federal election around 2025? That's pretty far out there, girl. I am getting more conservative. I hate to say this, but right now, if you're asking me right now in 23, what's going to happen in 25, I'm getting more conservative. But it's that fox in the hen house kind of conservative. It's that moderate. It's the moderate, but really they're a conservative. Now, not a Trump per se, but I feel like somebody's going to say, I'm a moderate. And it turns out they're really kind of, to the right of moderate. So that's what I'm getting. And that is also America's problem not in 24, but in 28, in 26 and 28 is this push of moderates, like the no labels party. We're just moderates. We don't want politics. We don't want to fight each other. That is a bunch of baloney. Those people are conservatives remaking their identity so that they can get elected, because the conservatives are going to be they're going to be sullied, muddied. They're going to be found out for who they are. They're not going to be trusted. So you're going to see all these conservatives, and I've talked about this in regards to Liz Cheney, you're going to see all these conservatives remake themselves as moderates. And they're going to, and this is what you need to watch out for here in the United States as well as in Canada. They're going to do this thing where they vote 2 times for reasonable, maybe moderate or just left of moderate, but they vote 3 times for right of moderate. So it confuses people. People we're not good at discerning this stuff. So we're really going to have to pay attention to their votes. These are not plug, play, forget things. We can't just anymore say this person is just going to do what they do. We're really going to have to start holding them accountable for their votes, for the support of whatever it is that they want, even while they're in office. We're going to have to be more active. This is our lesson as humans. We've allowed this to happen because we were asleep at the wheel. Remember, they just talked about justice being asleep at the wheel and going off the cliff. So going forward, we're all going to have to be more active. If an elected official, and even one that you voted for, does something that's not right, we all have, or something that you don't agree with, forget right or wrong, but something that you feel isn't right, then we're all going to have to be better about being more activated, being more active in voicing our opinions. And that's messy. We don't have time for that, but that's where we are. We can't just elect them and think they're doing right by us. We have to know they're doing right by us. Okay, let's move on. Beth Mullen 599 says, okay, you're wondering about the liberal justices. This was a really good question. She's wondering about the liberal justices. I'm going to say to you, the justices that Obama put in aren't liberal. He was a pretty stoutly moderate guy. And I feel like his justices are pretty moderate to maybe just left of liberal, but left of moderate, but not really liberal. But anyway, the justices that are normal on the Supreme Court, are they working somehow with elected officials or others to help get things done or make the court more ethical? I can only imagine that they are very frustrated, to say the least. I when I go into the energy of these justices, they're buying their time. What I understand them to be doing, they feel like they're standing in the breach. They're doing what they can. They're certainly showing up. They're certainly writing opinions. They're certainly, there's this sense of when history looks back on this time, they'll read our opinions. They'll know how we felt. It's not that we lost in the understanding of the historians. They'll know that we dissented, and they'll know why we dissented. And hopefully our opinion will make clear why these other opinions were wrong, right? I mean, it's history. They're sort of looking at themselves as doing what they need to do so the future can know clearly what was really going on at the court. Now, they're not, I don't feel like any of them are working with anybody, because there's this sense of hands off of, I am a neutral justice. I'm not going to be sliding evidence to the FBI that might be investigating one of the other justices. I'm not doing that. Plus it's very dangerous, to be honest with you. They understand they're in the belly of the beast. So they understand how dangerous all of this is. Well, who I do see working is some of these clerks. And I honestly think some of the clerks to the, Justice Thomas and Alito and all these other justices, I feel like those clerks might be working. Some of those clerks might have worked or be working with the authorities. There's this sense, again, I always tell you guys, you don't want to be standing there in front of the karma bus. You don't want to be gawking at the accident when the fire truck comes up to help those people, or the police paddy wagon comes up to arrest them. You don't want to be standing in the middle of that energy. So I sense these justices leaning way back, like, we don't want to get anywhere near that. I step away from the karma, step away from the energy. Let the spiritual popo handle this on their own. We don't want to get too close to it. If you get too close to it, you will have some blowback of that energy. So the sense is that these justices are like, we wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. We don't even want to be in the same state. We want to be as far away from these people as possible. But it is interesting that there are some energies, some people that are there working for justice. The justice is, we don't see it, but justice is really getting it done, is really working undercover, so to speak. Okay, let's move on. Pinky Pink Lady says, your question is about the Alabama districts being redrawn by a court-appointed special masters. And your question is, will these redrawn districts allow Alabama to turn purple or purplish? Also, do you see this process being repeated in any other states? Yes, I do see this process, this redrawing of the districts. I think going into 24 and 25, which is very interesting because we have an election, I think, at 26. In 24 and 25, I really see the Supreme Court weighing in and saying, we're going to draw districts like this. Like, we're going to have it's not going to be gerrymandered. They're not going to allow gerrymandering. So I do think that more and more states are going to come under. And I told you guys, they're reminding me that when we get into this new Congress in 24 and then 24 to 26, one of the things they're going to really address is voting rights, gerrymandering. They're going to really tackle that. I don't think they're going to get it right off the bat. In other words, I don't think it's a home run, but I think that a 50% adjustment would be huge for us, right? A 60% adjustment would be huge for us. We may not get it right, but we're certainly going to move it much further to fair. Now, your question about Alabama turning purple, this is what's going to, when I go into the energy of Alabama turning purple, I don't know. I see these people with red flushed faces, like I think they're going to stroke out. Honestly, I really do. I think they're just going to freak out, stroke out. They may resort to some sort of heavy-handedness, some sort of combativeness. It's not gonna, I don't see it being a switch. You're purple. I don't see that. I see fights. I see pushback. I see more threats, subterfuge, bullying. I see a lot of problems. I don't see, honestly, the feds, the National Guard might have to be called. I see a fight. Okay. So Alabamans, be careful. And we know who we're talking about here. White people, we can pass. We can, somebody can think I'm an old Republican white lady. Wait a minute, I ain't old. Damn. somebody might think God forbid, somebody might think I'm a Republican white lady, right? But that's what they think. If you're not white, they know you're not white, and therefore you're a target. So be careful if you're in Alabama, because as this goes down, it's not going to go down without a fight. That's what I see. They're showing me like a busing, segregation, desegregation. They're showing me those times in Alabama coming back again. Yes. Did it work? Yes. Did the feds have to get involved? Yes. Were they made to do it? Yes. I don't see this being easy, guys. I just don't. It's pretty tough energy. Okay. But I do think that if all these things happened and you didn't have that pushback of energy, it would be purple. I don't think, even though they redraw the map, I think they'll just resort to other things. They'll resort to other kind of subterfuge. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good. I didn't know any of that about Alabama, but just hang in there. You're fighting the good fight, and you're going to get through this, but it really could take a couple of years of some kind of a battle, push pull energy before you get to the other side, and things are a little bit more easy there. And I really think the feds are going to have to get involved. Maybe the feds are already involved with the gerrymandering, with the district maps, and that's what I'm seeing. But I'm seeing feds on the ground. I'm seeing National Guard on the ground, because you have to make these people act right. It's just like the parent needs to show up and say, you sit in that corner, you sit in that corner, right? That's kind of where we're going. Susie Lewis says, what's happening with Stacey Abrams? We have not heard much about her lately. And with the election cycle coming, her platform on voting should be in public view. Is she quiet to help Fani Willis? Well, okay. I've read on Stacey before, and I feel like her energy suggests that she's going up. She's ascending. And I don't mean crossing over. I mean ascending in her human energy and in this lifetime. However, she went through some things, y'all, that we don't know. And I don't think we're ever going to know. I don't think we're ever going to know the threats, the things that were done to her. I don't think we're ever going to know that. And it affected her. And she needs, present tense, to take some time off. Now, Stacey never takes time off, ever. What that means is she's taking time off of the public stage. She's regrouping. She's creating. I feel like, I've said this before, I feel like she's going to go national. She may be creating a group that addresses the gerrymandering on a, bigger stage, not just Georgia. I wouldn't say that she thinks that she's taking a back seat so that Fani Willis can get what she needs done, but there is energy to suggest that. We've said to you that Atlanta is ground zero, and I just heard the words powder keg. So I think that Stacey Abrams realizes that this is so explosive, what's happening in Atlanta and around the Fani Willis cases, that she's like, let's just let this do its thing, because I don't want to add a distraction, or I don't want to. There's this sense again of the powers that be wanting the heat off of Atlanta, because they understand that it's a powder keg. So they kind of want the heat off of Atlanta. But I see good things for Stacey Abrams. I see her ascending. And I see her having a more national platform, or national, if platform. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that she goes into the Biden administration. It could mean that, but it means that her focus and her voice can be more national. And I think that would be great. And I hope Beto O'Rourke does the same thing. I hope these people go into Biden's administration. I feel like he wants to make room for some people in 2024. I feel like he's going to have a little shift change in late 23, early 2024. And he might bring these people into his administration, which would be fantastic, right? But even if he doesn't, or she doesn't accept it, or Beto doesn't accept it, these people are destined for more powerful positions. Let's go on to Gailey. I'm just going to call you Gailey, honey. All right. When will the American people start to feel like we have a say in our government again? And did we ever really have it to begin with? I mean, that's such a provocative statement, because when I asked that question, the guides show me Vietnam. They show me the Vietnam War. There's lots of things that our government does that we just don't even know about, or that we find out about later. So your question is, when will the American people start to have a say in our government? Well, Spirit would say these MAGAs have had a say in what they want. They're a minority, and yet they're broadcasting majority energy, right? So it's not that we don't have a say. It's that we've been unaccounted for, asleep at the wheel, same energy. We don't vote, right? The number of people that vote in our country is kind of abysmal. And that's for a lot of reasons. But even right now, you and I are really involved in politics. But the majority of everybody is not involved in politics. They're more involved in celebrity gossip, or they're more involved in sports and athletes, or their families, or whatever. Politics is not, it's all consuming maybe for you and I. Most Americans, it's not. And they're tired. They don't vote, and they feel like they don't feel like they have a champion. Nobody's gotten them as excited as, say, Obama did when he had those big stadiums full of people. Our government, what they want to say is, our government hasn't been working for us. Our government has not been working for us. Nobody's here for us. We don't feel that anybody's here for us. And as we go into climate change problems, this is going to get bad. I was just literally coming back this morning from walking the dog and thinking about climate change, and thinking that Americans are going to become more protectionist. We're not going to want to help other countries because we have Hawaii that just, burned down. And where's that help, right? It is there. Biden is there. FEMA is there. But having been a person that's dealt with FEMA, that had my business, I had 7.5 feet of water in my business. I've been there. I lost everything. I've done the FEMA shuffle. I've been fed by Red Cross. You don't feel like anybody's there for you. No one is there for you. It's impossible to get help. It's impossible to get a loan, an SBA loan. It's just, there isn't anybody there for you. So when you hear the government giving millions and millions and millions of dollars, even to Ukraine or Sudan, it makes you start to feel some kind of way. Like, where's my help, right? And honestly, Democrats are going to start feeling like this more and more as we go into 24 and 25, and we have more disasters at home. So the Democrats are really going to have to pick up the ball on this, because I'm the last person you would call protectionist. I'm the last person you would call protectionist. But I see this energy coming. It's coming. We need help right here at home. And the help are customary. Remember, go back to the beginning of the video. We talked about customs and traditions, laws. Well, that stuff's not working. It's just like what you're saying. The government is not working for us. So this is what's going to be on the plate. This is what's going to be on the minds. This is what's going to be on the streets as we go into 24 and 25. We want the government to work for us. You are disconnected from us. And guess who's going to lead the rallying cry? Gen Z. Gen Z is going to be the one that says, this isn't working for us. We don't want your 2.5 kids. We don't want the ranch house in the suburbs. We don't want the loft in the city. We don't want the ranchette. We don't want any of that. We're happy sleeping in our car. But what we do want is safety, is some sort of job. We want to be valued. We want to get health care. And we want to be left alone to be who we are. If we're trans, if we're whatever we are, because this is what's coming next. If I want to be, dressed up like a dolphin, then that's me. Step off. This is what's coming. These Gen Zers are going to change everything because they don't want what anybody else wants. So they're the ones that's going to be sort of schooling the government, if you will. And as we can get these Gen Zers in Congress, things will be a lot easier. But that's going to take a little while. So hopefully that made some sense. I don't know. Who knows what I just said? Thank you so much for your question. Let me do one or two more questions. Lynette Stewart says, why isn't Lindsey Graham indicted? Is there going to be a second indictment in the Georgia case? Did he already give evidence to help the state further the investigation, or was there not enough evidence? The guides are saying the evidence was tenuous. There was evidence, but it wasn't strong evidence. Someone that they had been working with to become a witness ended up not being credible. Now, they're not going to just take, especially Fani Willis, she's not going to take a half-baked case to court. She's not. As she takes you to court, you're more than likely going to do jail time. She doesn't lose very often, okay? And so they couldn't get this witness corroborated. They had a witness, but they needed to corroborate something the witness said, and they couldn't get another witness to corroborate that witness. It was just, they just decided to cut their losses and go forward. Now, your other question is there going to be a second indictment? Is Fani Willis going to bring us another case? Is she going to bring another indictment? I hear yes. She's got more. There's another round of indictments. She wanted to not hold up this case. She also, they're showing me that by allowing this case to move forward, she could go into discovery, and which she was hoping that the discovery in this case would give her the pressure to then lean on these other witnesses to get them to flip. I told y'all she has contingency plans for her contingency plans. This was the contingency plan. Okay, let's go forward with this case. This is going to put pressure on these people. They're going to make these people flip. Then I have more players over here for the second case. I feel like in the end, and I don't know if I've conveyed this well enough because I don't know how to describe these energies, but people like Grassley, and this is allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only, but people like Grassley, people like Ron Paul, people like Jordan, Gates, MTG, maybe Boebert, and Lindsey Graham and others. These people, I've talked to you guys about the marionettes. They're puppets. They're controlled. I've told you guys, Grassley was retiring. He stated he was retiring. His energy said he was retiring. And they said, you're not, what do you mean retiring? We own you. We own you. We didn't say you could retire. You're going to have to come back and run again. They are not in charge of their lives. And the energy that I don't know how to explain is that the people that are the marionettes, the people that are the people in charge, will destroy them. They're not, I have talked about this. When you join the motorcycle gang, you don't just get to say, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I know I saw you kill that person or whatever, but I don't know. I think this is old. I'm going to go do something else. You can't do that. You're an accessory. You're also a threat. You're a liability. So these people are all liabilities. They're not going to just get to retire. I kid you not, you guys. Some of these people are willingly a liability. They're willingly in it. They don't want to leave the motorcycle gang. Okay. But Grossley did. Lindsey Graham does. He wants to leave. And he's getting to the point where he's starting to understand, I'm not going to get out of this alive, right? He's starting to understand that. And he's coming to terms with that. And you just might see some things. You might see some actions that these people take because they realize they can't ever leave, that they're owned. Again, like another analogy, they're showing me a metaphor, a prostitute. You're not just going to go back to school. I'm going to junior college. That pimp owns you. You're making that person money. I didn't say you could go back to school, right? So it's the same thing. They're owned. And if Lindsey Graham flips, he would be the kingpin of taking it all down. And the guides have talked about kingpin in the past. I actually looked it up, and the kingpin in bowling is the pin you hit that knocks all the other pins down. The kingpin takes everything down. So they just said if he flips, he will be the kingpin. He'll be the link that takes it all down. And going into his energy, he's kind of feeling that kind of way. He never agreed. You can look at his videos. He never agreed with Trump. He said terrible things about Trump. And then within 24 to 48 hours, he was on a plane to beg for forgiveness, or he was in front of TV cameras spouting Trump's praises. Everybody did this. All of them did. Ted Cruz did it. They all said bad things about Trump, and then whoop, oh, I'm singing his praises. Well, how do you explain that other than you got a little tap on the shoulder that said, no, we have all of this on you. You will go to prison forever. And when you go to prison, we'll make sure that you have a bad time in prison. You'll be marked in an unmarked grave somewhere. This is what I'm talking about. They don't just have Lindsey Graham wearing a dress. That is nothing. He doesn't care. He does not care. They have something on him that will put him in prison. And when he's in prison, he's not going to be protected. So do you understand? So what I see here is that Lindsey Graham could be, if he flips, he's going to have to be very protected. I mean, very protected. And even then, I don't think anybody can really guarantee his safety. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. We're talking about worldwide MOB. Worldwide. How are you going to escape that, right? So with that very amazing and kind of heavy duty question and answer from the spirit guides, I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to do a part 3 because there are so many questions still. I'm going to do a part 3. So keep your eyes peeled for it. Again, if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll know when there's a video, and you won't have to search for it or, wonder where Susan's been, right? Just kind of makes it easier. Take really, really good care of yourselves. Leave me your comments in the comments. I always love to read your comments, and I'm pretty active in the comments. And we'll see you again in a few days. Take really good care of yourselves. Everything's going to be okay. But we got cleanup on aisle USA to deal with for a little bit longer. Okay? Talk to you later. For entertainment purposes only.